I can't tell you how honored I am to be here today and to be inducted into the Missouri Photojournalism Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank the American COO, Kevin Jones, for his nomination. It's been a very fast 30 years for me working for the St. Louis American. In '81, when they hired me full-time, I was already freelancing for 3 other newspapers around the area. When Dr. Suggs came in and bought the paper in the winter of '82, I was about to leave, but in listening to him tell us what he had in store for the staff, it made me want to stay.
Well, I see the American as a team, and there's probably no individual team member who is more associated or better known than Wiley Price.
As a COO of the American, I see Wiley being out in the community as equally important to the photos he takes for us. When people see Wiley, they see the St. Louis American.
He's a storyteller, but he does it with his camera. And not only has he captured moments of grief and tragedy, he also manages to capture moments that lift our spirits. And there are a lot of photojournalists that don't bother with that. And while many Americans are familiar with the famous photograph of the AME bishops laying their hands on now President Obama praying for him, too many Americans don't know that that was Wiley. That was him capturing a special moment in American history and preserving it forever.
Not just the sentiment of the faith leaders there, but there was a sentiment, particularly among African American people, that something bad was going to happen to Obama in the climate, the racial climate that we have, and that people did want some semblance of security around him.
My Obama photo, which I call Message for the Messenger. And the message was, you've got a 60-plus African-American AME bishops in a room who are praying over what could be the first African-American president of the United States. Because by the time we posted it to the internet, it got away from us quickly. I mean, people started sending me the picture in email, calling me on the phone, oh, you should see this Barack Obama picture I found on the internet. Even one of my closest friends from high school, she lives in New York, she emailed me the picture and said to me, you know, you're a photojournalist, you would actually appreciate this shot. And I opened it up and it was my picture. So I emailed her back and said, Denise, I said, thank you very much for sending me this. I said, but I took this picture. So she emails me back, she goes, Wiley, please, you know, you don't have to take credit for a picture you didn't take. My dad was the first black radio personality in the bi-state area, Missouri and Illinois. Started at WTMV, which is based in Belleville. And the ties with my father being in radio and me being here at the paper are one person removed. When I came to the American in '79 looking for freelance work, I had to speak to this guy named Benny Rogers, who didn't want to see me because I came down without an appointment. And so when I went back to my car, I'm getting to my car in Orlando, and the secretary comes running out to stop me. She said, Mr. Rogers would like to see you for a minute. I said, okay. So I go back in, old guy sitting there behind his desk, you know, and he looked at me. He looked me right in the face and went, oh my God, you look just like your father. And so I knew I had to end. In some kind of way, this is gonna jumpstart me to at least working a little bit for the paper. Over the 30 years, I've seen like maybe 6 different police chiefs. I've seen at least 3 different fire chiefs. I pretty much came in when Congressman Clay was still a fairly young man. And I've seen him retire, see his son take his place. Even sometimes I step back and marvel at what I've seen and what I've recorded as far as the history of the African American community.
This picture here kind of, I guess maybe sums up the beginning, because I've got braces on my teeth. I'm 27 years old, and I've just announced that I'm running for a citywide office against a guy who is the chairman of the Democratic Party. He's 68 years old. He's held the office that I'm running for 12 years. Out of 28 wards in the city, looks like I'm only going to get the support of 3. He's got probably $180,000, and I might have 10. All right. And so people like Wiley in the Mirror can still give me a chance. You see, that's the significance of what this is.
He's a professional, but yet as a professional, he's more than a professional. He's Wiley Price. He's an individual that's involved in this community, and he understands this community. He wants to project that community the way that he understands it, I believe. One in particular, I took a picture with some city officials, and at the time, things were really heavy on my mind, and that picture really captured my feelings at that time. And it wasn't one that said that I was sad or anything, but it was one that projected that this is a trying time for this individual. There have been a number of photos that Wiley has taken that really captures, again, the essence of me.
Again, he's capturing the hearts and minds of the people in the community, whether they be in sorrow, whether they be in protest, whether they be in jubilation. He manages to capture all of that. So when you look at the newspaper, even if that picture is not of you, there's a piece of a photograph that draws you in, and you can really relate to it.
I mean, Wiley is known everywhere, and he can be doing anything, but he'll go into a school and work with kids. Now that's the most amazing thing to me, to see him sitting down, talking to kids and capturing them and at their best, always at their best. Wiley's always been there. I mean, there are always many, many photographers, but when Wiley comes in, we direct him to the good stuff, because we know he's gonna do it well. Yeah.
I've known Wiley about 25 years, and I see him everywhere because he's a really hard-working photographer. And I was delighted to see his smiling face on the cover of the Missouri Press Association magazine, that he's in the Hall of Fame. Terrific.
The black press has had its share of really good photographers, but they usually go on to the majority press, the mainstream media, and certainly the magazines, those who have been really, really good. We've been lucky to have Wiley stay here and deliver the kind of coverage he has.
Part of what he's done throughout his works, at the St. Louis American is capturing, African Americans in a positive light throughout our community. And I think that has played a significant role, not just for all of us today, but also for all the kids and everybody that's coming up now that will have that legacy to be able to look back on in photos through Wiley Price's work.
In many ways, over the last 30 years, if you look at those photographs that Wiley has captured, you actually see the face and times of the African American life and culture.
To be sitting here and see a paper go from almost going out of business to now you're one of the top papers in the state, and you don't even come out every day. And to have people who are outside of the African American community come up to you and tell you that your focus and that your message to the African American community actually involves everyone in the community is a huge plus. And you can actually walk up to Dr. Sexton, pat him on the back for that, because in my view, many times I thought Doc could have walked away from this publication and said, okay, this really isn't working for me. I need to drop this off in someone else's lap, and I'm going to move on. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. His drive was correct. Where he wanted to take the paper was correct. The way he wanted to take the paper there was correct.
He is an indispensable part of this, of the St. Louis American, in the past, now, currently, and certainly going forward in the future.
In 2000, he received the Missouri Governor's Humanities Award for his book of photography, Lift Every Voice and Sing, a historical essay that chronicles the lives of 100 St. Louis African Americans in the 20th century. Also in 2000, he received the Missouri Interscholastic Press Association's Contributing Medium Award, only the second time the award has been given to a photojournalist.
Wiley has said that his professional vocation is to document the African American community in St. Louis. He certainly has done that, but his camera has also captured the wonderful diversity of our city in the foreground and in the background of those shots. When Forest Park Forever was celebrating its 25th anniversary, they honored Wiley Price for his iconic photographs of one of the most beautiful parks in the entire country. I know because I was there to present him with the award.
Those of us that have followed him, have worked with him over the years, have all come to love him and appreciate him for what he does. I mean, he's a class act. I think everybody knows that.
Certainly this honor is very deserved. I'm proud of who he is and what he represents, and the fact that he takes time out to mentor young people along the way. Congratulations, Wiley. This honor is well deserved.